So, Mike, let's start out with your background. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am the last of 10 kids from Houston, Texas. My father was a Pentecostal pastor. My mom was a homemaker and did some odd jobs outside of the home, babysitting and cleaning houses and things like that. My older siblings, 5 brothers and 4 sisters, they were, it was tough growing up. They were trying to figure out who they were and how they needed to respond to the home. My dad kind of being a tremendous paradox in Jekyll and Hyde, being the man behind the pulpit during the week and then at home a terror. So it was tough. It was rough watching, the transformation from Sunday to Monday, and so looking at that it was tough. And so as basically a student of my family, watching those things from very early age until the time that my dad left at 12 years old, when he decided he had enough. He was tired. He was tired of fighting with my mom, tired of hitting my mom, and just wanted something better, and left us. And that was a very difficult time for my mom, but it meant freedom for me. I was kind of free to begin to be who I was at 12 years old. And I think there was a limit to all of my siblings. They didn't know it, but from the time they were born until the time they were 12 or 13 or whatever, there were signals that they were getting and hearing that you're not very smart, you're not very valuable, you're not very good, you're not really worthwhile, you're not going to go far in life. And I believe that was a message that they were never fully able to erase.
Mike, is there freedom in writing?
I'm sorry?
Is there freedom in writing?
You know what? Journaling is something that's very powerful when you sit down and begin to just write. Even if you don't write, you're just thinking. If you're able to just sit down and really think about what you're thinking about. And oftentimes in life, we take off running. It's like a race. And we're in that race, but we don't know what the prize is. We have no idea. We're running as fast as we can, but we're not running towards something because we want to earn it. We're running from something because it's making us afraid. And before we know it, we're 25 and 35 and 45, but we're still kids running from the same fears that we never ever faced because we didn't know we had them. So for me, it is really being able to take the time and recognize that every one of us have fears. We just have to figure out to what degree and go back and begin to soul search and really think about where we came from and some of the things that made us afraid, some of the things that made us run, some of the things that made us feel bad about ourselves. And it's an amazing thing about life is as we get older, we're still in this little place that, sometimes some of the decisions that we make, we often ask ourselves, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I think that? Why didn't I just go for it? Well, because we have pinned ourselves in this small place in life, and we've already decided, the brain has already decided, this is as far as we're going. This is as high as we can climb, and this is all we're worth. We can't do that other stuff. And because our subconscious mind is so very strong and always in the present, it's constantly telling us, even though it was way back then that it happened, it's telling us today, you can't do it.
Now, what was the inspiration behind this book? Why now?
The inspiration behind
Writing Visualize Your Greatness. Why now?
Well, actually, I felt in my spirit the last thing I wanted to do was write a book. I'd written 3 other books, and primarily they were, I was assisted by a ghostwriter that was asking me questions from different parts of my life, different stages of my life, and I'm sitting there kind of like an interview process. And but I thought, you know what, I want to do something. If I'm going to do a book, then I need to write the book. I need to actually get into the bowels of the book. And so that's what I began to do. I just began to think about, how did I get from where I was, 8314 Woodward in Houston and Sunnyside, how did I get from there to here? And I just began to write. What were the steps? What were the different things that that took me from one stage to the next? And just begin to kind of map that out. But before I got there, it was really looking at what set the whole thing up, and really what set it up was, I had the opportunity to receive some Norman Vincent Peale tapes when I was maybe 10 or 11 that I started listening to, and putting headphones on and listening to my cassette. And I learned that if I could close my eyes and envision what I really wanted in life, that I could get it. And I thought, really? You mean I can do that? Man, I want a lot now. And so I began to do that. I began to put those headphones on and close my eyes, cut the lights out, and shut everything down, and just focus, man. And just focus on, what is it that I really want in life? And I began to envision myself going through the different stages of life, getting a scholarship and getting my degree, walking across that stage and getting my papers, and being drafted to the NFL, becoming an All-American, and becoming an All-Pro, and going to the Super Bowl, and owning my own business. And I began to see those things. I began to see my family. Before I met my wife, before I had my kids, I began to see the kind of father that I wanted to be. I began to see how I wanted my household to be. I began to see how I wanted my kids to interact with me and my wife. And I began to see how I wanted to interact with my wife. So those were things that I saw before I was 12 years old. And those are things that I envisioned. I would look at movies, I would read books, I would see plays. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's what I want. And I would take those things back, and I would sit down and I would close my eyes and I would envision. That's what I want. And those things, one day at a time, they begin to come true. And they begin to come true because at the same time I was looking at what I wanted and how I wanted to get there, I began to find mentors that I could ask. if this is what I want, what do I need to do to get there? So, well, Mike, if you want to get a scholarship, man, you're going to have great grades, especially if you want to go Division I. And so what I began to do is I began to form a little study at my house. Some of the students, some of the smartest students that were at school, I would invite them to my house. We would get together at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. My mom was making dinner, and we'd sit there and talk about English, math, whatever it was. So we just had little study groups, and that was fantastic. I loved it. Things like that, being able to look at what you wanted in life and then find somebody that could help you, give you a roadmap as to how to get there. And then now it's the hunger. When you start asking, man, it costs that much? I got to do all that? Well, you don't want it. You need to just go ahead and let it go. But I kept asking, okay, is okay. So I got to do this. I got to do that. What else? What else? I kept asking, what else? And finally, when they said, if you can do that, then you can have that. Then I would write just a little bit more. I would add just a little bit more. If it was reading 10 books, I said, I need 15. If it was running 5 miles, I said, I need to run 6. I would add just a little more. So whoever it was out there that was my competition that I couldn't see, they're going to have to do this, which was a lot. And then I add my own touch to it. If they can do that, if they can beat me in getting this done, then they deserve it. They deserve it. Because I'm going to do all that.
Mike, is the pursuit to excellence or visualizing greatness, what does God say when it comes to pursuing excellence or having visualizing greatness, which greatness can be defined based off wherever your heart is. But it sounds like you visualized everything maybe that you didn't have as a young boy growing up.
For me, God says, when you do something, you do it as unto the Lord. So that is the highest level. When I look at what God did for me, he didn't say, get my word and go sit down and read it and follow it. He said, I am going to give you my son. I've got one son, my only son. I'm going to give him to you as a sacrifice. I want you to understand the depth that I want you to go. I'm giving you my very best. And I'm going to allow him to take your place. Everything that you deserve, I'm going to allow my son, who is with me all the time. I have something great for him, but I'm going to send him to rescue you. And he is going to give everything for you. He doesn't have to, but he chose to. That's the price that I'm paying for you. So whenever you look at doing something and you say, this is hard, this is tough, look at the cross. Look at the cross and understand what he gave. And you may say, I'm tired. Really? Look at the cross. You say, man, I've been doing this for 5 weeks and nothing's happened. Look at the cross. Did you do that much? Did you pay that high price? No, but I'm tired. Well, okay, so you're complaining. When you can complain, you still got more left. So use that to finish rather than complain. use it to finish. And so I never got to the place where what I was doing was so great that I had done everything. No, there's always room for improvement. I always need to go back and look at what else do I need to give? How much more do I need to give? How much better can I be in whatever it is?
Having courage.
But you said you didn't want me to.
What is courage?
You said you didn't want me to go through the steps. You didn't want me to talk about the C.
No, we're gonna go through each C, just like a little synopsis
Okay.
of each one, or what kind of.
So you want me to go through each C?
Yeah, what kind of drove you? Like, why the 7 C's? Why is that? Like, why not 10 C's?
Okay. So start.
Yep.
As I begin to think about what exactly did the blueprint look like? What did if I were to give a roadmap to a person about how do I get from A to Z? Well, you get from A to Z by a C, and there are 7 of them. And so when I really sat down and thought about it, I remember the first thing I did when my mom asked me to become the man of the house. First, I was shocked. I'm the last of the 10. You want me to be the man of the house? Man, I'm still sucking my thumb. But when she looked at me and she asked me to become the man of the house, I knew that she really, really believed in me. And so I said, Mom, I can do this. So I went in my room and I got out a sheet of paper and all of those things. And when I was listening to Norman Vincent Peale, all of the studies that I had and the study groups and all of the times that I was working out and the people that I was talking to about being the best and being great, playing middle linebacker and getting a degree and all those things, it came to this one place that I needed to figure out, what do I put on this sheet of paper that would help me get there? And so with all of those things and knowing what I had to do, the first thing I had to do was have the courage. This is a blank sheet of paper. But I got to start somewhere. And that took courage. It took courage to pull it out of me. Because at the same time, there was so much in me that was saying, you can't do that, man. What are you thinking about? No, don't do that. But I did. And so as I began to write, it took courage to write what I wrote. That first step in life, because there's so much negativism that we get in life. There's so many people around us telling us what we can't do. It's like we've got ties all on us, all around us, in our minds, in our hearts, in our souls, in our spirits, in our bodies. And we are trying to get out, and everything around you is trying to hold you to say, you can't do that. And it takes courage to say, yes, I can. And so I begin to write. Find a way to get a scholarship to go to college. That took everything, just that. Find a way to get a scholarship when everybody's saying you're too small, too short, too slow. But I did. And then the next thing was to begin to make conscious decisions about, how do I do all of this that I wanted to do? Making conscious decisions about doing the things that I need to do more of to get me there, and doing less of the things that I needed to not do in order to get there, that were impeding my way.
Is that the toughest part, or do you think having courage to take the first step?
Courage was that, if you don't have courage, none of the other steps can be possible. But you've got to write it out so that you can see it. And you can't talk yourself out of it because it's there. It's written. That is the mark that we're trying to hit every single day. And if you don't have the courage to write it, well, you can talk yourself out of it and say, well, no, I didn't really mean that. I didn't really, if you're thinking through it, the subconscious is going to win every time. The subconscious says, man, no, you can't do that. Now, everybody out here can tell me that I can't do it. They don't matter. But when I tell myself that I can't do it, that's when I'm done. That's when it's all said and done. I will never do it.
How does character play a factor into this blueprint of reaching greatness?
Character is so huge because character is the thing that I'm doing, that I say I'm going to do this, but character is what I'm doing when I'm alone. When I don't want to do it, when I don't feel like doing it, when I'm, thinking that, man, maybe this is too hard. Maybe it is impossible. But I do it. I do it. Character is the thing that I've already written it out because I've had the courage to do it. I see it. Character says, okay, Mike, when you look at that, you were in the right frame of mind when you wrote that. Don't talk yourself out of it. Let's go to work, man. We don't have time to sit down here and negotiate what part of it you're not going to do. You got to do it. You got to go. Let's go. That's character.
In 1985, what was something, Mike, that you and your team, you can look back and say, we were consistent in these areas. I was consistent in these areas, and we know what the result.
Well, after the 49er game, the championship game the year before, the NFC championship game, I remember standing on the bench yelling at the 49er fans saying, we'll be here next year. You will see. We will be here next year. And I'm crying. I'm losing my mind. I'm screaming to the 49er fans. Game is over. Seconds running off the clock. Everybody thinks I'm nuts. But that was the beginning. We got on the plane, and I'm telling guys, next year starts tomorrow, and we are going to be focused. We are going to Super Bowl. It is our time. We will not be denied. And so it was it was having that consistency every day, thinking about that. That fire. It's like putting another log on the fire every day. I got to get this done. I know what that felt like to be denied. Feeling like you had everything you needed to get there, but you're denied. So you can go back home and go, throwing stuff and kicking stuff, man, you can think about all the reasons why you didn't do it. We don't have to go there. I just want to look at, I don't ever want to feel that way again. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything. I'm crossing the T's. I'm dotting the I's. I'm making sure that I'm putting things in proper perspective. And I have a commitment. I have a desire. Every day I'm going to show up and be consistent on the workload that I need to have in order to get it done. There is no, I was tired today, I didn't get a chance to do it, or, maybe I'll get it done tomorrow, I'll do more tomorrow, or, I didn't feel good at it. No, you know what? I know what I felt. And I know what I don't want to feel again. I don't have time to make excuses. And I'm not going to sit around and talk to someone who's going to try and make excuses for me. No, I'm going to separate myself from that pack. I am focused on what I'm doing every single day, the consistency of the workload that I need to do. Just a little bit more every day. A little bit more, not only physically, the physical workload, but I also need to take the time to think about the mental workload. Can I do this? Can I see this? Because if I can't see it, then I cannot be it. Cannot. So that's every day. When you're doing something, that's every day. You're calling it in. You're getting a little closer to it every day because you can see it. The physical part, the mental part, and it's coming to you every day. But the consistency has got to be there. Can't be missing days. No sick days. You got to go.
Mike, when you got to Baylor, you knew you could play football. When you showed up in an English class, were you confident that you belonged?
Sometimes when that was one of the scariest things. Everybody was trying to tell me, get out of that class, man. That professor is crazy. She is crazy. She's going to give you an assignment to do on the very first day of class. You don't want to get in her class, man. But it was the only freshman English class left. And they said, you got Mrs. Miller? Oh, man, you done messed up. That lady is crazy. I told you. I'm sitting on the front row praying that she didn't say anything to me. And the first day of class, Mr. Singletary. Yes, ma'am. I'm the only black in the class. Are you a football player? I put my head down. Yes, ma'am. I am. Okay. And continue to call it out. And I'm like, oh, man, that was not good. And so that's where it started. But she did give that assignment the first day. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to make the football team. Certainly she knows that I'm here to make the Baylor football team. I'm trying to start. I'm trying to do everything I can. She gives an assignment the first day, and I'm out there trying to start, man. I'm half dead by the time practice is over. I'm sitting there, and I got to do something. Okay, I write out some stuff, and I give it to her. That next time in class, she comes to my desk, and she looked at me. Mr. Singletary. She slaps it down on the desk. Mr. Singletary. I want you to understand, I know you're a football player, but you cannot turn work in like this. This is unacceptable. Do you understand me? Don't ever come to my class. I'm sitting there, everybody looking at me, and it's like, I'm sitting there sweating. I'm like, why did I get in this situation? Get me out of this class. But she said, after the class was over, Miss Singletary, I want to speak to you. I go, I don't like you already. You done dogged me out. But she said, you know what? I want you to know I meant every word that I said, but I also mean this. I'm here for you. You need me? I will make myself available. I'm going to give you my phone number. You called me. I started calling her that night. Ms. Miller, I need help. I started talking to her after class. I saw her walking down the sidewalk. I'd run to her and say, well, what about this? What about that? I ran her down. But by mid-semester, I was standing up in my chair. To be or not to be? That is the question. And then Robert Tennyson, Robert Browning, all of the great writers. I knew all of the sonnets from William Shakespeare. I knew all of those things. And it was like I loved English. I almost changed my major to English. And then I had an epiphany. Boy, you don't love English. You love Mrs. Miller. The way she taught, the way she brought life out of you, the way she brought the best out of you. That's the great thing about life. When you find great mentors, She was a tremendous mentor to me, and one of the people in my life that changed my life, that helped me understand the importance of having someone in your life that can draw things out of you. That was a tremendous, tremendous opportunity to meet someone that became a staple in my life.
So, Mike, everyone knows you were a competitor on the field. But I remember you said something to me that always stuck is be the best husband, best, are people in competition with the person to the right or the left, or is the competition right in front of them?
Well, as a player, people are always asking, who's the best running back, man? I know Walter Payton was great. Take him off the list. But what about Earl Campbell, Dickerson, Marcus Allen, Billy Sims, all those guys? Who was the best? You know what? Who was the toughest competition that you faced, man? You thought about them, and the next day, man, it just made you think about who they were. None of that. None of that. I always thought about me. If I could do the necessary work, if I could do my workload, and every night when I look in that mirror, did I get better today? So I'm always in competition with me. It's never anyone outside of me. It's me. If I'm willing to do the work, if I'm willing to do that workload, then at the end of the day, I don't care who's out there. They got to deal with me because I'm ready. I am committed to the cause. And each and every day, I am competing for whoever it is out there, but I'm competing against myself to bring out the best in me. For whenever and whoever it is that I'm competing against, I'm ready, I'm prepared, I'm ready to go. Case closed.